for joining and apologize about the delay there, but we're glad to have Natasha here. She's fantastic, and I'm excited for everybody to kind of hear her story. And it'll be a pretty casual, light conversation. As Sam said, by the way, Sam is our franchise development coordinator who pretty much does everything that I or some of the other development directors can't do. She does, so she's awesome. So thanks, Sam, for all your help. But we're excited to have Natasha here and just have a conversation about you and your journey and what led you here to HomeWell. So Natasha, I'll kind of kick it off and please tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and a little bit about you.
Of course. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Natasha. Right now, I am in the Fort Lauderdale area. That is where my territory is. I guess the reason why I kind of got into this industry is, prior to home health, I was working for United Healthcare, selling Medicare insurance. And a lot of my clients had home health aides come to their house, and it wasn't the greatest conditions. I kept hearing a lot of my clients complain about aides not showing up, being late, just not the best. So that's the reason why me and my mother, who's also my partner, we kind of started looking into this because we wanted to, of course, open up a business one day, and we thought that this would be the best fit because we like to give back, especially to the elderly community, and pretty much be their advocate. So that's the reason why we kind of got into this industry. We've been in actually 1 year, and I think in the next couple of days will be our 1 year anniversary from getting our license through the state. And we are, super excited that it's already 1 year. It flies by.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like anything, you've been extremely busy and done a great job. How did you first hear about HomeWell and kind of talk to me about that journey a little bit?
Yeah, so it was in December. I saw, I guess, an advertising on Facebook about HomeWell. And I was like, that's interesting. I don't know how it popped up on my feed. It's not like I was researching anything about franchising or home health. It just mysteriously popped up. So I kind of did my research, and I was like, this sounds a little interesting. So, of course, I passed over the information to my mom. I tagged her. I'm like, Mom, look at this. This seems interesting. And that was in December. In January, we were in the same spot where you guys are. We attended one of these meetings in January, and then I think we signed on the dotted line early February.
Wow. So your process was really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about your process of learning, one, about franchising, and two, about HomeWell.
So as far as, like I said, I did my research on HomeWell. Of course, I really never heard of HomeWell. I've heard of the other competitors. So, I did do my research on just the industry in whole, where is it going in the next 10, 15, 20 years? And clearly, baby boomers are aging. This industry isn't going anywhere. If anything, we're going to need more home health agencies because it's just going to be too much in the market for us to really handle. So I kind of like that idea that I don't want to really say recession proof, but pretty much recession proof. And yeah, I liked HomeWell. Honestly, what attracted me to HomeWell was the logo. I love the heart. Out of all the logos out there, this one to me stood out the most. And it just, I don't know, just for some reason it just touched me. And then I liked the fact that HomeWell was somewhat newer, especially in my area, because we only had one agency in South Florida, which is in West Palm. So I kind of like that it wasn't so overly saturated. I could, get a territory, work it, and I would be able to really grow with HomeWell. And I didn't really feel like I could grow with the others because it was just, again, too overly saturated.
Yeah. Is that one of the, like, obviously you did your research, there's a lot of different home healthcare brands out there. That's the reality. Mm-hmm. So, outside of the awesome logo, obviously, that we have, the availability of territory, how was the process from when you started researching them different than maybe some of the other brands you looked at from when you started researching to when you signed on the dotted line?
Yeah. So as far as researching, I mean, honestly, HomeWell, you guys responded immediately. If I didn't really feel like a number like I did with the other, competitors, yes, I might have inquired and I just never got a really good answer. Nobody really responded. It just wasn't warm and welcoming. But of course, when I reached out to HomeWell, you guys like welcome me with open arms, just call just to check on, say, hey, how are things going? You guys knew who my daughter was, and it just kind of felt like home. And I like the fact that I could honestly call the other agency owners, to see how they're doing, hear what the good, the bad, the ugly, this industry was. And I didn't get that with the others. So, this, like I said, it just really feels like a family. I don't feel like I'm competing with anybody else. I feel like, everybody's here to help guide me to, get me to the level. Like my goal is to get like New Jersey. That's my goal one day. So, I like the fact I can just literally pick up the phone, call, and, their whole staff will seriously like talk to me and just tell me, what they do to kind of get their name out there.
Oh, that's awesome. It is quite an atmosphere people prior to both of us have created at HomeWell. So you've kind of seen the ins and outs of the industry even before getting into this. What would you say is your favorite part about owning a home care business and your least favorite part? Because let's be honest, every day is not perfect, I'm sure.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, give you all rainbow and roses and butterflies. It's not that. I mean, with this industry, it's 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you really have to realize that. It is a sacrifice. But I mean, the best part of this is that I'm with these people and I make it enjoyable as much as I can, pretty much to the end of life. This has really opened my eyes because I never realized that a lot of people really aren't there for their parents. They kind of get pushed to the side. And of course, a lot of the kids don't even live in the same city or even the same state. So they need someone to pretty much be, their parents' advocate. So I like the fact that I'm there. They have my number, they call me, they text me all times of the night if needed. So I like that aspect of it. I like hearing their stories. As far as clients goes, I've had a Supreme Court judge, I've had a lady that pretty much was Gucci. She was over there in like Italy, like she knew them, like they were like family. So, I like hearing these different types of stories and, to see, how their life was. And like I said, I really enjoy that I'm there to the end. The least favorite, well, it changes as far as least favorite. A couple of weeks ago, if you would have asked me what my least favorite was, it would probably be, staffing. With this industry, it is such a high turnover of caregivers. So you do have to really find creative ways to keep them engaged and pretty much keep them on the books. I mean, keep them in your roster because you don't want to come a time where you're trying to staff, you put them on a case and there are no call, no shows. So you don't want that. So finding that right caregiver it's like a puzzle. So sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. So to me, that might be my least favorite. But also I would say, recently, sometimes clients, unfortunately, they do pass away. I don't like that, especially once, you get to know them and they just, of course, move past, and leave this earth. So that I would say that's my least favorite. And then of course, when a client goes into the hospital, I don't like that. So.
Yeah. It's never easy to see somebody you almost cared for and move on. But, one of the great things is we can help them at least enjoy it when they're here and provide that service
Correct.
to them. So what you've been in here a year. you kind of every day is a little bit different, but what is your kind of typical routine that you go through on a day-to-day basis?
Day-to-day basis, really all depends on the day. Of course, looking at the schedule, making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be, that they clocked in. So I would say that would probably be the first thing I do. Honestly, I do that when I first wake up. I'll put the schedule up on my cell phone in bed and just to make sure everybody has clocked in. So that's usually where I start off and kind of see, what the rest of the day is, whether if I have any assessments or appointments to go to kind of sign on new clients. Or if I don't, sometimes I'll try to make a schedule to kind of get out there in the field, to go and meet, different, maybe, geriatric care managers or going to skilled rehab facilities, just to kind of get my name out there. So I was really planning on that. And then of course, there's always billing and payroll. That's a weekly basis. I usually do that on Mondays. So that's my Mondays is usually, with more clerical stuff.
So how has the day-to-day changed, like from when you very first opened your agency? Like, what did that look like compared to now?
Well, when I first, of course, I didn't have any experience in this industry. Thank God I was able to find my administrator who actually had many years of experience with home health. So I learned a lot from her. So when I first started, I was all over the place. No sleep, stressing all the time because I didn't know what to expect. But now that I'm in it, I know what to expect. I kind of come up with a schedule, time management. Like I said, taking care of your caregivers because you don't want that headache. So at least with me, I do pay my caregivers more than half of what I'm charging because I just want to be able to sleep at night. So, I tried paying them a little lower, but I did notice that, hey, if I paid them a little lower, then I do have a higher chance of them not showing up to a shift, calling out in the middle of the night. So now that I'm paying them more, I don't have to worry about that. So it's just one of those things that, from the beginning, it's a lot of trial and error to kind of find that balance because you do still need to have a work-life balance. So really time management is what I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it definitely is a balance. So now that, like I said, you're a year in, where do you see the industry kind of going from here? You have experience before, you're in it now as an owner and really in the day to day. So where do you see it headed from here?
Well, I see it definitely growing. In my opinion, I feel like with this industry, it's going to keep growing. And I feel like eventually there will be a lot of agencies out there. So I'm kind of glad that I got in right now. Reason why I say that is because, again, the baby boomers are aging. So eventually they are going to need home care. A lot of people don't want to go into a nursing home. Their idea is I want to stay at home as long as I can, but I don't want to be at home by myself because I don't want to fall. I need help with grocery shopping, cleaning. And again, their kids are still working. They're in another state. So I see the demand for home health, growing. And then of course, who knows what's going to go on in Washington. I do feel like Medicare eventually will start covering some of these services because, the rehospitalization, that hurts the Medicare dollars.
Right.
So we want to keep them when they're discharged from the hospital. They don't want them back because if they have to be readmitted, they got to give money back, and that kind of hurts them. So having home health care to, again, eliminate falls, because falls is usually the number one thing that, makes a senior go into the hospital. So I really don't see it going anywhere. That's why I said it's kind of recession proof in a way, so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, father time always catches up with us, no matter who you are, unless maybe you're Elon Musk, and then that's a whole nother situation. But so in talking about caregivers, do you utilize maybe like anything like a structured family care, like a family member as caregivers? Or have you ever explored that?
I actually haven't. No, no one has really, access to that because a lot of our clients, like I said, a lot of their children don't even live here or they're already actively working. So I haven't really ran into the situation where there was like maybe a grandchild taking care of mom or dad. So no,
Okay.
I haven't had that.
Yeah.
Because with at least in Florida, they do have to be licensed, so they have to go to school and get certified, for this. So.
Gotcha. Great question. Something that just came up as a great question. So
Mhm.
what would you tell yourself if you were starting over, knowing what you know now as a new franchise owner? What would you tell yourself to good, hey, I would do this a little differently? Or what would you tell yourself a year ago that you know now?
What I would have told myself a year from now. Well, a year ago.
I guess what advice would you give a franchise owner who you've obviously had some great success in your first year. So what would you tell that person starting out day one, now that you're a year in?
Gonna come. With this, it's literally a roller coaster. For a week or two, you could have 0 phone calls, 0 appointments. You're stressing like, oh my gosh, how the heck am I gonna get clients? How am I gonna get money to pay my overhead? And then the next week you'll have like 8 people. You have 8 appointments. So, and they all sign. So my thing I would have told myself is, don't worry, it's gonna come. I would have told myself that, because like I said in the beginning, I lost a lot of sleep, stressing over, oh my gosh, am I gonna get 200 hours? Am I gonna get 300 hours? You're seeing your hours grow, so you're trying to keep increasing it. And I was worrying a lot about that, but it came. Sometimes it came overnight, and I was like, oh, I stressed for no reason. So.
Yeah, that thing gets every business owner. So you're not alone in that aspect. So we talk about competition a lot. In this space, there's a lot of different home care brands. So when you came in, and we'll talk about the competitive landscape in your market, do you feel like there is competition? Is there enough competition to grow? Help us understand that aspect.
Yeah, good question. So in my area, again, I'm in South Florida. So of course, every senior wants to retire and move to Florida. So yes, the competition here, it's a lot of home health agencies. But I still feel like there's still enough room for other agencies to come, and there's still enough room to grow. Reason why I say that is because a lot of my competitors, they don't give too much of the personal touch. So with HomeWell, we were taught, when you speak with someone, you want to schedule an in-home appointment with them. You want to meet the family, you want to meet the client, build that rapport, sign, and always just be their advocate. A lot of the agencies, at least in my area, they don't even meet with the client. They just send the information to them through email and say, okay, we'll send somebody there whenever we can. See, I don't like that. So like I said, I like the personal touch. I like being in front of them. And then of course, when I do sign, I usually come back out, introduce a caregiver to them. I kind of show the caregiver around. And then from there, I'll sometimes pop up, just check in, seeing how things are going. I'll bring them coffee. I'm like their best friend. And, from what I've been told, a lot of the agencies don't do that. So that's one thing. Another thing, at least with my caregivers tells me a lot of the agencies don't pay well, like only $10 an hour. So they like the fact that, I'm paying them more. I check on them. I see how they're doing. Are they happy with the client? So they like the fact that I take care of them. So yes, it might be a lot of competitors out there, but with HomeWell's, roadmap and how they are successful, I feel like it's missing, at least in my area. That stuff is missing. So I am still able to get a lot of clients because I can kind of somewhat guarantee quality of care. I'm pretty much guaranteeing that my caregiver, she's gonna be there on time. You're not gonna have to worry about her not showing up. And if she doesn't show up, she tells me in advance and I will make sure to have a replacement there. So I can always kind of guarantee that somebody will be there. And I don't have that revolving door of caregivers, like a different caregiver every other day or every week until a client's home. So, and it's not a lot, again, a lot of the agencies are not like that. So to me, yes, it might be a lot of agencies here, but it's not that many that offer great quality.
Yeah, the customer service aspect of it is crucial in any business, and more importantly, when you're walking into somebody's home and taking care of a loved one, it's super important. So HomeWell, as a franchise or on this side, how do you think they've helped you, one, start your business, but helped you to grow and support your business?
Yeah, you guys helped me a lot. I mean, literally from the sign on the dotted line. I mean, of course, Laura, she was helping. I was speaking with her every single week. She was like, okay, did you submit this to the state? So she literally walked us through each aspect as far as getting our license. Of course, with Florida, it's a little bit more strenuous. It takes a longer time. But again, she held our hand all the way to the finish line. And then from there, I got traded off. And again, I still have my weekly meetings, and my weekly meetings are with Brad. And he says, how's things going? He looks at my numbers. He gives me, helpful, ideas on how to grow the business and what other things like other agencies are doing. And then again, if I have a question on how to do something, I can just literally pick up the phone and call any other agency owner and see how they're doing things. And, they tell me, like, they'll spend a whole hour on the phone with me if needed and tell me their secrets. And then, of course, in Florida, we kind of started our little tradition. All the agency owners in Florida, we meet up every quarter. And just kind of do a powwow, of course, we haven't seen each other in a while. So, we catch up and we see what works, what doesn't work. Do we have a similar, connection that, like, if, for example, like a rehab or an assisted living facility, let's say an owner in Tampa has like already an in, they can kind of get me in down here. So we kind of all work together. And that's one thing, again, that I like about HomeWell, is that they're like a family.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. It really is. And it's great that, one, that you were able to spend this, 20, 25 minutes with us. I just have one more question for you as we wrap up. And again, thank you for your time today, Natasha. You got to tell me, what's the number one thing on your bucket list? Everybody has one. What's yours?
Oh gosh, the number one thing on my bucket list, just travel more. I just want to travel. I want to be able to grow the business so I can just leave for a month at a time and just travel the world. So that's on my bucket list.
Do you feel that this opportunity, now that you're in it for a year, will give you, will it give you that opportunity to do that once you build your business to where you want to get to?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I definitely will say. Not right now, because of course I still want to be completely hands-on. And I'm a little bit of a control freak. I guess that might be the Virgo in me. But yes, once I can, fully build up the team that I want, which should be soon, then yes, I do feel like I will be able to step back and yes, go on my 1 month vacation in Woosah.
That sounds, you live in Florida. I thought every day was a vacation, but apparently not. So
I know. Nope.
Well, awesome. Well, everybody, I really appreciate you guys jumping on. Natasha, again, congrats on your almost 1 year anniversary with HomeWell. Can continue to do what you're doing. You guys are definitely making a difference, and not only in your life, Natasha, but in the lives of the people that you affect. So thank you, everybody, for joining. For everybody that joined the call today. Oh, go ahead, Natasha.
Sorry. Yep, I saw some questions. Did you want me to answer those, or did I already?
We'll follow up with everybody on the questions. Yeah, thank you, Natasha. Sorry if you missed that. So
one that she might be able to answer is, do you have a referral source that you use the most, like a hospital or a nursing home, other agencies?
Most of my leads come from, we call it secondary referral sources, which is online leads, so like a place for mom and caring.com. So that's where most of my leads come from. But I am working with a geriatric care manager. I didn't know what that job title was until I got into this industry, but yes, I do get a few leads from her as well. Not so much the rehab, because I feel like they don't really educate their staff much. So I feel like I need to kind of go out and do some lunch and learns to kind of educate them the reason why they need to refer to us directly. Because yes, a lot of my clients that are getting discharged from rehab go through a place for mom because they didn't know. So.
Awesome. And then the other question, we'll just answer it since we're here, is obviously staff turnover. How often do you have to get into the recruiting process? Like, what is that to you, your process for recruiting?
Yeah, so my process is a little bit different from others. My idea, I want to have as many people in my pool as possible. So we're just always hiring, you know, at least I want them in my roster. I mean, right now, caregivers that I have in my roster is like over 200. No, I'm not actively using them, but I like the fact that if a case comes up, I don't ever want to tell a client, no, I can't staff it. I don't want no to ever come out of my mouth. So my idea is I want as many people as possible because they don't only just work for my agency, they work for all the agencies in my county. So so I at least want them to know what cases I have available so they can tell me yes, they can work it or no. So I don't have to worry about much staffing because the way I do it, I just hire a lot. So
yes, hire, right? Name of the game.
Yep, hire. Yep, always hiring.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, again, thank you, Natasha, for your time today. Really appreciate it. Thank you to all the participants. If you guys have any further questions, feel free to follow up with your development director. We'll be happy to answer those. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their Friday. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you again, Natasha, and congratulations.
You're welcome. Thank you.